All right, then. So today we're going to be talking about how AI is transforming AI-driven personalization over in telco specifically. So some context on Bloomreach. So first of all, it has been founded by the AI team that built Google Search, and we came in with the intent to bring that same technology over to e-commerce specifically. We also have 30 plus patents specifically for e-commerce, built on the AI foundation specifically for e-commerce, like I said, and some stats around that. So first of all, we have powered 445 million searches on Black Friday in 2023, alongside 380 million separate email campaigns, also on Black Friday, alongside impacting over 25% of all e-commerce experience in the US and the UK. And alongside that, we have currently around 1,400 happy customers all around the world. And a couple of more words on those customers. In telco specifically, we work with O2, Virgin Mobile, and also T-Mobile, some of which are obviously present. If you have any complaints, then you can, during lunch. And like I said, if you have any complaints around that, then we can talk during lunch for sure. And in other industries, we work with Starbucks, Burger King. That's not all too relevant today, but worth mentioning, I suppose. And our overall vision is to make telco communication and just overall shopping, purchasing personal across many different industries, telco included. So the marketing automation landscape overall is very diverse, extremely competitive. And to give you guys a bit of an idea of where we stand, there are, first of all, point solutions and ESPs, so solutions that do one or two things extremely well, but only those one or two things. So for example, Klaviyo does only SMS and email. That's the kind of solution that only small businesses go for. But at some point, you have to go higher because of higher margins and whatnot. So then there is something like Braze, which is a multi-channel marketing solution. And Braze is a fantastic solution through and through. But what it lacks is a data component, a CDP. And what people who go for something like Braze often have to do is invest in a separate data component, so something like Telium, Segment, or maybe Rudderstack to connect those two together. And then there are also the classic marketing clouds, so something like Salesforce, Adobe, something that all of you guys probably heard of. And those things are relatively well known for the fact that they are legacy solutions, that they're relatively dated. They have decent functionalities, but the usability of those solutions they're not too convenient to use. I always use the example of your average marketer, and anytime they have to pull out a campaign in Salesforce, they feel as if they have to go down a mine with a pickaxe. That's how the usability of those platforms function. And in that landscape, when it comes to us, we position ourselves somewhere in the middle. So we offer both multi-channel marketing and a CDP platform alongside AI and analytics functionalities. So instead of having to buy 4 or 5 different separate solutions and plug them in all together in a disjointed fashion, you can have everything under one roof instead. That is our main selling point, so to speak. And internally, we have something called a maturity curve of personalization. So on the x-axis, you have the revenue potential of CX, and on the y-axis, you have the personalization maturity. And a vast majority of businesses fall right here, spank bang in the middle, where they don't really treat personalization in a serious matter, and they only put customers in a one-size-fits-all, attribute-based, segmentation rule-based sort of function, where everybody gets the same messages, they are not personalized whatsoever. And that does bring a slight modicum of results, but not that much. Then you go further down, and a company might invest in a better solution, and that has something like behavioral recommendations, so it gets a wee bit more personalized at that point, and that's already a big upgrade. And then on the far right of the axis, we got elite businesses that really treat this stuff seriously. So one example that I always pull out is the example of Temu. Now, who here present can tell me what Temu is known for exactly? Nobody heard of Temu? That's something that's hard to believe. It's a shopping platform, but what is it known for, is my question. Cheap price, exactly, and one more thing. Exactly that. So cheap price and low quality. So that's something that Temu is known for.
And aggressive marketing. And aggressive marketing.
Absolutely, aggressive marketing. But one thing that you cannot take away from Temu is the fact that they treat this stuff right there extremely seriously. So whenever you go to Temu, everybody knows that those products are of low quality for a very small price, but the shopping experience on Temu is straight out of a fairy tale. You go to that website and you just think of a single product and it already somehow, one way or another, already lands in your basket. So despite the fact that they have this reputation of having low quality products, people buy those products because the shopping experience overall is extremely pleasurable because they take this stuff seriously. Now, to give you guys a couple of examples from Telco specifically, O2 Slovakia, they came to us a couple of years back because they had a big problem with customer acquisition. They were spending loads and loads of money on Google ads, Meta ads, and whatnot. And the return on investment on those ads didn't go all too well. The cost of acquisition and cost per conversion was extremely high. So they came to us and we implemented lookalike audiences. We adjusted their strategy when it comes to targeting and whatnot, and what that resulted in was a 60% cost per page visit reduction alongside a 65% drop in cost per conversion. Another example would be something like Voyo Croatia, which is a service modeled after Netflix, very similar to on that front, and their problem was the fact that they had a very specific marketing strategy, but they did not have the technology to pull it off. So they were on legacy solutions, and we had to migrate from that. And once they implemented Bloomreach, what happened was we implemented all the lifecycle funnels, so like a customer win-back campaign, all of that stuff. And after only around 6 months, that resulted in an average open rate of close to 60% for their emails and a ROI return of close to 5x. Now, to wrap this overall section of the presentation up, the 5 main reasons why Bloomreach is different to other marketing automation and CDP tools is the fact that, first of all, we segment in real time, while other solutions do it in days, hours, we do it in milliseconds. The second thing, the biggest thing, if you ask me, is the fact that it's an all-in-one solution. So it's both a CDP, a marketing automation tool, alongside the analytics and AI component. Also, when it comes to the data part, there is a complete history. So on average, it tends to happen where a data component comes in, it's a known customer, but after a while it comes back as an anonymous customer, for example, and that's something that other tools might detect, but instead, here it works in a way where we always detect that it's the same person, no matter what, it's always the same data set, in a sense. And also, multi-channel, so all marketing channels, including SMS, email, web pushes, there's no single need to buy any other tools to get into any other marketing channels because everything is under one roof. And all that results in a faster overall ROI since you have to implement only one tool to have everything under one roof so you can get into the weeds of things faster and start playing around with more advanced campaigns faster. And also, this least exciting thing of all, but needs to be mentioned, we are the very first GDPR certified company in the world of its kind. We have SOC2 Type 1 and 2 reports, 5 ISO certifications, and we are your overall privacy and security partner. And what it all boils down to is that we will make sure to keep you guys out of jail. That is essentially what it boils down to. And to get into the more exciting part of this presentation is how exactly is AI transforming marketing in telco? And quick question, who here present has been in San Francisco before, if anybody? In the back, somebody there? Okay, how was it? Because I haven't been yet. That's okay, short and concise, beautiful. You have also been, how was it? Beautiful, and have you ever encountered those cars before? Now, ladies and gentlemen, what those cars are is that they are self-driving cars. There are no humans inside. You go in, you type in where you want to go, and the car drives you by itself, no human included, all the way to your destination. Now, I am including this example because this is sort of kind of the way that we are going when it comes to marketing automation and overall marketing. in telco and shopping specifically. So right now, most of us are using AI for stuff like image generation, text generation with things like ChatGPT and whatnot. That's something that I assume every single one of us here uses for work. And over in the marketing automation space, we are currently right here in the middle where a lot of solutions are implementing analytics agents, workflow agents, where you can automate a lot of processes. And our overall vision at Bloomreach is to go way over to the right where we have autonomous agents, autonomous marketers that do everything here in the middle all by themselves. So to give you guys a couple of examples of what we are currently doing on that front, one example could be a web layer variant generator. So a lot of marketers have to do a lot of A/B testing, for example, and they have to create separate images, separate text fonts, and stuff like that, and A/B test it, between all of those to see what functions the best. And here you can just create a bunch of variants automatically and test them all together with each other and save loads and loads of time on A/B testing. And another even more exciting example would be Lumi Analytics. So this is a big function that we rolled out that helps a ton when it comes to the overall analytics and reporting segment. So, for example, in Telco, I personally have this problem where I run out of data a lot. So I have a data package bought out for like 15 gigabytes of internet, and I oftentimes run out of it. So what you could do in the platform is, for example, write out a segment of people who tend to run out of data, like a segment that ran out of data at least once within 6 months. And then based on that, it creates an entire segment of those people that have this exact problem, and they will report based on that, instead of having to look for that specific group of people manually. And then we have the scenario agents, so our funnel builder that we have built from the ground up. So based on that segment, that report that we have created, you can create a funnel from top to bottom where you can, let's say, create a campaign that targets specifically the people that tend to run out of data usage and give them a push notification to buy like 5 gigabytes of internet extra. That could be one example. And to give you guys a specific example of how this thing works in practice, let me pull out a video right here. So here's the platform. And here, Rice created a report showing total revenue generated by first-time purchasers compared to customers who have purchased more than once in the last 90 days. It types that in, it works on it, and here we have those two segments. So customers who only purchase something once on the left, and customers who are repeat purchasers. So those two segments have been generated from top to bottom automatically. And then based on those segments, we're going to write in to show us the trends of those purchasers who purchased something in the last 6 months. Then we have all those trends. We have the report generated from top to bottom. Then we're going to create an additional group of people who have purchased something in the past but haven't purchased anything, nothing whatsoever within the last 30 days. And it's also going to create that segment. And here we have a group of close to 40,000 people who have purchased something in the past but currently are inactive. We're going to save that segment, and based on that segment, what we're going to do is create a campaign that is going to win back this specific segment. So actually make them, repurchase, reactivate, buy something again. And wouldn't be a presentation without technical issues, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. And the key here is that we typed in that we want to create this specific campaign, and that the fact that it understands what the campaign objective is, who the target audience is, and what the messages are supposed to be. So here's what our analytics tool understood based on our input. Here's what it spat out, but that's something that we're not going to be perfectly happy with, so we're going to elaborate on how exactly this should be positioned, like add more details on what exactly it's supposed to be. And based on that, it readjusted the overall campaign objective and what the target audience is supposed to be. And from then on, we can proceed further. And that's the entire funnel generated from top to bottom. So instead of spending hours or maybe days creating this specific campaign, it's already done from scratch. And from that point onward, you can still adjust certain conditions, like within this example, there's going to be added a condition where only customers who consent to personalized communications are actually going to be sent out this campaign. So that's a condition updated also with Lumi AI. Yes, and that would be it for this example. And overall, that's it for the presentation. Thank you for your attention. Time for questions, I suppose. The Meta Ads platform. Yeah, the Meta Ads platform is specifically for paid media. So we don't do paid media, but we help within those platforms. So for example, with Google Ads, Meta Ads, we don't replace those platforms, we aid those platforms. So we don't do mobile ads, we just help within those mobile ads.
Yeah, okay, so I have from the
Me.
How can I use insight from AI tools to optimize the performance of my campaigns?
Yeah, so for example, you might have a specific open rate, like for example, let's random number, 25%. Then you might type in, okay, what is the average time at which my campaigns are being sent out? And let's say on average they get sent out at 12 a.m., for example. And then you notice, okay, but the campaigns tend to be opened at a completely different time. So for example, at 3, maybe in the morning. And then based on that data that you have typed in, like, hey, at what time does my campaign tend to be opened? You can adjust the send times in that case, for example.
Okay, the next question is, how can I balance data privacy with AI personalization?
Data privacy with personalization. This depends country to country, but all of this is done with consent, essentially. This is all according to GDPR, and this is based all on the data that has already been consented by the end user. So if they consented to, for example, email marketing communication with things like their email, their name, that's data that they consented to, and that's the data that we use. We don't use anything extra that they have not consented to.
How can an organization implement hyper-personalization without making users uncomfortable, thank you, about how much we can infer about the consumer behaviors?
Yeah, that depends. Yeah, that depends on the skill of the marketer, I'd say, because that's something that you can easily infer on even without AI. So if you blast out 7 emails to the same person on the same day, you don't need AI to be intrusive, I'd argue. So AI is obviously going to help with your current workflows, but if you are going to be intrusive, it's not necessarily because of AI, it's more so because of the skill of the marketer, I'd argue.
Okay, it was a great pleasure to hear you.